Welcome, everyone, to the start of a brand new HTL Challenger Series season. The World Center of Racing is alive to the sound of finely tuned and high-powered race trucks. Welcome, everyone, to ABN's coverage of the HTL Challenger Series. From Daytona to Miami and everywhere in between for 14 races, 14 weeks straight, it all begins here. We're glad you're with us. Let's get everything down to business here. 21 trucks on track tonight. Qualifying is in the books. Everyone now has 5 minutes to get everything in place. Practice your pit entries. Those will be important tonight. It'll also give us a chance to go over some important details before tonight's festivities begin. Before we do so, a huge shout out to those watching live on Patreon. If you're watching on YouTube, say hi to everyone on Patreon. For those on Patreon, say hi to everyone watching on YouTube. But for those that are on Patreon, thank you for helping keep the lights on the last couple months. Cancer fight is hard, but we have some amazing soldiers behind helping make things happen here on ABN. Trade up slogan, a full year supporting ABN on Patreon. You are an absolute beast. Thank you so much. Dogman2935, Eli Sasick, Jason Scott, Alfred Denny, Weekend Hobby 22, Philip Snipes, Tyler Head. You've been with us for 3 months now. Thank you so much for your support to kick off 2026. B-Dogs, Colin Madonna, thank you for 2 months of support. Blue Jay, your anniversary is coming up here in a few days. Thank you so much for almost 2 months. KJ Gibney, James Wright, J-Paw, y'all are the newest members to the premium tier of the Patreon family. Thank you all so much. It's been fun having you all part of the board game nights we've had and the community game nights as well. Thank you all so much. As well as a huge shout out to everyone that subscribes to ABN Plus on Patreon, the entry level tier, which is equivalent to a Twitch Prime sub. For those that have subscribed that way as well, thank you so much. Your name is also included in the little ticker that runs at the bottom of each of our live broadcasts and is archived all the time. 62 laps is what we have in store for us tonight, a 250-kilometer event. No planned stage breaks as a change from last season in HTL. No planned stage breaks for any race in HTL. The only time you're going to see yellows are for cautions tonight. There is still a stage break. Not stage break. There's still a stage. Points are scored about halfway. So the end of lap 30, stage points will be scored from 1st to 10th. 10 points for 1st, 1 point for 10th, fill in the gaps in the middle. But again, no stage breaks, there's no stage cautions. You race through it. That's an important little facet that everyone's going to get used to. For those participating in both the Challenger Series and the Cup Series, this is their way of getting used to that process before they do the 500, Daytona 500 next Monday. All of that is extremely important to get used to because, again, for the longest time, you've had guaranteed breaks in the racing at the super speedways. That's gone now for HTL. A very welcome change, a very popular change among HTL drivers and team owners. Going into this new season of racing in the Challenger Series is a good test bed for that before everything comes to life next Monday for the big show, the Great American Sim Race for the 8th time. 21 trucks on track tonight, as we mentioned. All of them set qualifying times. Almost 30 trucks registered overall for the season. A few not present tonight because of other commitments. But that's fine, because we have a fun season coming up here in the HTL Challenger Series. Next week, we head from Daytona. We head up the Atlantic coastline to North Wilkesboro. Going to be a lot of fun racing there as well. Looking forward to racing at the new North Wilkesboro as well. Can't wait to see these trucks go at it. Couple more things we want to kind of plug in before we kind of get too dug into the race here. We got a heavy schedule coming up here on ABN. Tomorrow night, right here on Patreon exclusively for Patreon subscribers, ABN Champ Car at Mid-Ohio before the spring break to give us time to enjoy the rest of the month of May and everything that comes with it. The Canadian Grand Prix, the Indianapolis 500, the Coca-Cola 600. So last ABN Champ Car race before we get into the summer is at Mid-Ohio tomorrow. On Thursday, simulcast live on Patreon and on YouTube, it's the Kart IndyCar Series from Texas Motor Speedway We're off Friday. We're racing again Saturday. Saturday night, it is Arcside Octane at Darlington. Simulcast live here on YouTube and on Patreon. And then we go Winston Cup Series racing at Chicagoland on Sunday. Monday, very important day, the 8th HTL Daytona 500. We can't wait. We hope you're ready for it as well. 40 cars. Speed Weeks comes to a head next Monday for the Great American Sim Race. Emily Howe and Caitlin Height on the front row. Christina Ryan and Marcus Chafin in row 2 to kick that race off. 40 cars all going for the ultimate prize. No repeat pole sitters. There's been no repeat winners of that race either. We'll see if that changes in a few days' time. But warm-up is completed. You saw everyone sort of spinning around, spinning their wheels to get everything ready to go. We're glad you're with us. Again, I'm Carmen Sienna. We're glad that you have joined us for an amazing Tuesday night of racing. The fun does not stop here on ABM. Billy Thompson asking on Patreon, who do I think is going to win it? You've got to be a really good plate racer here. These trucks are a lot more wily than the Cup Series machines you'll see on Monday. A lot more air to play around with, and a lot of your plate experts, Christina Ryan, Blake Henderson, Marcus Chafin, should be excellent here. Josh Sushi should be okay. Kevin Gibney Jr. shown that he's had a lot of good form as well. So we'll see if that holds true here tonight. The starting grid is ready to go, so let's go ahead and jump into that starting grid. It is Blake Henderson on pole position to kick off this brand new season in that Rhea Ripley-inspired 25 car. He leads the way alongside a former Daytona 500 winner and a former two-time Cup Series champion, Josh Susi, on that front row. Again, two experts coming into the conversation here to kick off things. 21 trucks in the field, though. They'll have their hands full. Dustin Hall and Casey Ellis in row number 2. Dustin Hall looking to break a winless streak dating back almost 4 years. Can he do so before the biggest race of the season coming up on Monday? Be a great way to start things off for him. Blue Jay to the inside of Duel 1 winner last night, Christina Ryan, who qualified 6th in Car 80 in that Goodwrench Ron Hunter-inspired scheme from back in 2005. Ryan Moutre back on HTL's racetracks here. He's alongside Ascent Racing's Brady Smith. Brady Smith, a dark horse pick to make the Cup Series playoffs. Starting well, starting 8th here in Daytona. Kevin Gibney Jr. in the 31 alongside Eli Sasek. Both of them had pretty interesting duels last night. Kevin Gibney Jr. so close to a duel win. Still a good starting spot for him, but could be better. Eli Sasek likewise had a handful managing Ascent Racing last night. We'll see what he can do from 10th on the grid. John Matthews and Tristan Bayer, teammates for Orlando Outlaws. They sit just outside row number 5. They're in row 6, 11th and 12th on the grid. There's 5 Orlando Outlaws trucks in the field. Bryce Bohr and Marcus Chafin. Excited to see these two on the racetrack. A little bit of the old guard in the conversation here at Daytona. Again, Marcus Chafin, really good job last night. Finished 2nd in Duel 2. Let's see what he can do in the first Challenger Series race of this new campaign. Byron Jones and Davis Mule Jr. sit in row number 8. Byron Jones for Orlando Outlaws. Davis Mule Jr. for Gibney Racing Division. Alfred Denny, Dakota Osborne sitting in row number 9. Row 10, Gary Donaldson and DJ Anderson. DJ Anderson in a, looks like a Panasonic Toyota-inspired truck with the red and white. He is in a Chevrolet, though, tonight. Donaldson in his Under Armour Ford. Getting ready to go racing from 19th. The last row, one truck in it. Wesley Worley, the owner of Orlando Outlaws, making his HTL debut. Power issues, power failures for Wesley Worley threatened him with the ability of almost not making the race. Instead, he is here at the back of the field, taking it easy in case there are more issues that come around for the 13 truck here tonight. But welcome to HTL, Wesley Worley. We're glad you're on track with us here tonight. Huge shout out to Anderson Graphics, a huge time partner here at ABN. They've helped design some of the graphic overlays you see here used on ABN. An expanded partnership that began at the beginning of the year. NASCAR quality prices on, NASCAR quality without NASCAR prices on paint schemes as well. A lot of paint schemes used last night. You'll see a lot of paint schemes used on Monday for the HTL Daytona 500 and throughout the HTL season. A few on track here tonight, including at the front of the field in that 25 truck. If you're trying to make yourself look good ahead of the Coke 600 or going into the summer months with NIS, with eNASCAR, or various leagues kicking back up here this summer, QR code can help get you started here. Again, NASCAR quality without NASCAR prices. We're happy to have Henderson Graphics on board. And if you're wanting to join in on the fun on Patreon, the QR code bottom of your screen, as well as if you're on YouTube, in the description down below, can help get you started. As little as $5 per month. There's actually a discount right now, $2 per month for new premium subscribers. We've already had several take advantage of that for the month of May. Get a lot of exclusive content, podcasts, additional content, some behind the scenes, and exclusive community, and more. All right, now we've got all the maintenance out of the way and all the plugs through. Let's get some racing in, shall we? It's Henderson and Susie at the front of the field. 21 trucks ready to go racing. It's time to make some noise. The World Center of Racing is alive to the sound of thunder. The Daytona 250 is underway. Christina Ryan leads lap one. I thought it was going to be Josh Susie for a second, but Christina Ryan, with support from teammate Blake Henderson, takes it instead. Christina Ryan won the first stage of the Open over a week ago, won Duel 1 last night. Would love to kick things off with a race win here in the Challenger Series. Was really looking forward to racing these trucks, especially with the increased horsepower. 715 horsepower in these trucks right now. Susie gets clear, gets to the bottom of the racetrack. Leaves Casey Ellis on the outside lane, looking for help from Brady Smith. Susie leads lap 2. DJ Anderson started from pit lane. So 20 trucks in this lead group. Anderson hoping for a caution early to avoid going a lap down. These trucks are hauling some pretty massive speed at the moment. Do we have a dashboard on the race leader, Josh Susie? I think we might. There we go. Look at the speeds there. 188 as the race leader entering turn 1 for Josh Susie. Pretty spectacular stuff. It's even faster further back in the running order. Wesley Worley just set the fastest lap. His debut in HTL. He's got some speed, 190. A lot of checking up, though, as everyone jockeys in between lanes into turn 3. With some pretty spectacular speeds right now at the moment. Everyone trying to figure out what lane they want to be in, how they want to make moves happen here in Daytona. It's allowing Susie and Ryan some consistency near the front of the field. Gibney trying to get clear on the 25 of Henderson. Thought about slipping in behind the 80 of Ryan. Instead, will stay going forward with teammate David Smith Jr. in tow. coming around to complete lap 5 in a hurry. These trucks are at a breakneck pace. Teammates on the bottom, teammates up top. Ryan on the bottom, Smeal up top. Sorry, not Smeal, that's Susie. Smeal's up there too, he's third in line. Gibney in the middle. That vibrant blue, really eye-catching on the Ram trucks for Gibney Racing Division. A lot of Ram trucks in this field. Obviously, the overlay doesn't quite denote that, unfortunately. We apologize for that inaccuracy. Thought they were going to be one way. Instead, they're in Ram trucks tonight. But all 3 of them aren't, so we'll let that be. Susie, a proven winner here at Daytona. So is Christina Ryan. So is Blake Henderson. Gibney had a lot of pace last night in the duels. We'll see how that translates here. So far, it's translated pretty well. All 20 trucks still together in this conversation, down from Susie to Donaldson. Really hanging back there near the back of the field. Not a bad place to be, getting your first reps in HTL. It's an intense field to be in. Doesn't matter if it's 40 cars, 20 trucks. These trucks move around a lot. We talked about it in the pre-show, how these trucks move around a lot more than the Cup cars do. These trucks are not planted at all. And it's a lot of fun to watch, but it's a handful to drive. So you got to lock in and really focus in on what's happening. So it's no surprise that it is veterans all over the place at the front of the field. Susie, Gibney, Spiel in the top 3. Christina Ryan, not an HTL veteran, but for those that have watched ABN for any part of the last 8 years, then you know exactly who Christina Ryan is, 6-time most popular driver in ABN. And that's across thousands of community members that have voted every year. Blake Henderson, ABN Daytona 500 winner back a few years ago. 4-time winner in HTL Cup Series competition, including at Talladega. There are resumes in this group. You cannot ignore the resumes either. Eli Sasek won the Firecracker 400 2 seasons ago in the Cup Series. He's in 9th. Marcus Chafin, he's a Talladega race winner. Finished 2nd in the duels last night. Everyone hanging in there pretty well, though. We are coming around to complete lap number 9. It's a handful right now. Susie moved to the bottom of the racetrack. Christina Ryan went to the top side of the racetrack. I believe so did Blake Henderson. The 25 also went top side to support Kevin Gibney Jr. And Gibney goes top of the chart. Gibney leads lap 9. And the outside lane is proving to be, once again as it was last night, the place to be. But the inside lane, unlike last night, really coming into its own and holding form a lot nicer right now. As we mentioned, increased power in these trucks. These trucks typically produce 650. There's an increased horsepower attached to it, so it's about 715 on the power limit for these trucks right now, which is why we're seeing speeds consistently hit 190, 195 on the straightaways. So far, everyone's vibing pretty well, though. Everyone's having a pretty fun time. Inside lane beginning to prevail once more, with Susie leading the way ahead of Smeal. Looks like Henderson trying to get back into that conversation as well on the outside lane. Ellison 9th. He's 4th on the outside lane as Susie runs the bottom of the racetrack and leads lap 11. DJ Anderson about to go a lap down here. Not the end of the world. There is a free pass. If a caution comes out and Anderson's the only car a lap down, he will get that position. He'll get that lap back, and he'll be at the other of the field. A little bit of a hip check, and that was towards Brady Smith. Who would make contact with him? It might have been Bryce Bohr. It was either Bryce Bohr or Eli Sasek. If it's Eli Sasek, that's even worse, because that's teammate on teammate crime. If it's Bryce Bohr, his first race back in HTL in over a year and a half, trying to dust some rust off. Brady Smith, thankfully, still in the conversation, still in the mid-pack, so no one lost time overall there. But a pretty nasty hit to take on the back straightaway. If that was the 7th generation car, that would have been a car in the infield fence about firewall deep. Instead, we're in the trucks, so we keep going. Gibney getting a lot of help out in the back straightaway, but it's taxing Christina Ryan and Blake Henderson to try to keep providing that assistance to Gibney, especially knowing that Gibney's just going to drop to the bottom of the racetrack ahead of Susie if he can get clear. But everyone's soldiering on. Gibney leads lap 13. As the fight marches on here on the high banks. Outside and falling apart pretty hard now on lap 15. Two groups of 3 up there on the high line, but other than that, it is inside lane all the way through. 14 cars on the inside lane, 6 up top. With DJ Anderson about to go a lap down here. Dustin Hall up to 3rd behind Davis Muir Jr. hanging in there. Blue Jade sitting in the 83 car, sitting 4th in line. And now everyone pretty apprehensive about moving to the top side, with the top side languishing as it has. Six cars now put together in a solidified train up top. That's the cars running closer to the wall. We'll see if that group of 6 can make some ground forward here. We're right on board with Blake Henderson, so you can see what he's dealing with on that 25 truck. And let's grab us on board here. Christina Ryan up the road in that Goodwrench Chevrolet. Really good look at how much they're just moving around a little bit here. Trying to hang on to the seam. It's a little bit easier for the outside lane because their left side's not quite as vulnerable to side drafting, to the aerodynamic effects that you see buffeting some of these trucks around. But what they've got to worry about is the trucks to their left coming up the racetrack, because they do get very sideways very quickly. They are very sensitive on the right side. The longer wheelbase, the longer the truck bed in this case, a vulnerability in these vehicles. Susie went up the racetrack. I don't know if he was volunteering to do that or not, but it does give Davis Mills Jr. the race lead for the first time here tonight. Susie going to try to work with Kevin Gibney Jr. to move back up the field a little bit. But now it'll be Smeal and Dustin Hall at the front of the field as we start lap 19 of 62. Remember, stage points offered on lap 30 unless a caution comes out between lap 26 and 30, in which case it's the moment of caution. Outside lane trying to make some moves. Looks like they might be successful to a degree here. There's Anderson, bottom of your screen now, out of it. Anderson moves down off the racetrack below the yellow line. At the outer bound of the line, you can't gain position, but you can give up spots, and that's what Anderson's doing, just getting out of the way. He's a lap down. He's the only truck out of the group here right now as it sits. So if something does happen, he's right back in the right now, right back in the basket of things. Trying to get things moving forward. Checking the seat. No more comments on Patreon, so we're good there. If you do have questions on Patreon, let me know. I'd love to answer them for you live on air. Outside lane struggling still. Christina Ryan moved to the bottom of the racetrack. Now looks like she'll go back topside ahead of Susie. A little bit of a position struggle. She was sitting ahead of Bryce Bohr, the 57. And now we'll get help from the 81. The 80 and the 81 now on the outside lane trying to work together. The 81 has a decorated history here in ABN. For Christina Ryan, it's twofold. One of her original mentors when she got into the sim racing scene, Evangeline Porter. Now Eva Melton. Congrats on the marriage. But the 81 was Melton's car. That was her car number. Back when they raced in Super GT and GT500, GT300, Super Cup, which is a DTM format they used over in VRR. Had a little reunion a couple years ago when they raced V8 supercars. Always nice seeing the 80 and the 81 together. A little bit sentimental. And trouble almost, and it looks like that is Worley. That got a little squirrely in front of Byron Jones. It held up a couple others. Gary Donaldson, Dakota Osborne also held up. Osborne looks like he'll hold on to the draft. The other three will have to group together because they have lost it. Outside lane not really going anywhere right now. Moutre is clear to do what he wants to do in the 44, that Bucky's machine. Wonderful, wonderful race truck for Ryan Moutre. But he is sitting fourth in line now on the bottom of the racetrack behind Blue Jade. It is Davis Mills Jr. that controls the race right now pretty handily with ahead of Dustin Hall. Lap 24 now underway. Outside lane just is not going anywhere at the moment. Everyone's pretty well sitting on the inside lane. And that is surprising because the outside lane has the ability to side draft a lot harder. But no one really doing so right now. Gibney's on there a little bit lower, trying to side draft on Henderson. But everyone's giving a lot of space right now. No one's pushing at the envelope too awful hard. And I guess that shouldn't be surprising. What the racing we've seen with the shootout and the duels, it's always been sort of urgent. It's sort of go, 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 go. Now you're in the long haul of a race format, and it's going to be something similar to the 500 on Monday. Now you've got to think big game. You're not thinking lap 15, lap 20, lap 30. You've got to think long term. You've got to think pit stops. You got to think lap 62. You got to think stage points. Where do you want to be at the end of lap 30? Everyone's thinking a little bit bigger picture at the moment. There's no winning in on this championship format. It is the top 10 makes the chase. So everyone's a lot more subdued right now with 5 to go before we get to the stage points. There is the wonder, the curiosity on if they do start mixing it up here. And if so, when. But it has not helped those right now on the outside lane. They have been the ones left to starve. There's 5 of them up there. Alfred Denny, the 21. Eli Sasek in the 9. Kevin Gibney Jr. in the 31. Josh Susie in the 81. Christina Ryan will abandon the outside lane altogether, slide in behind Henderson, and now it's down to 4. 4 to go in stage 1. And it is single file, the first 11 cars. Pretty big deal right now. Here, Bella Viscali rooting on Blue Jade on Patreon. We see you. Also see Austin Mongold in the YouTube chat saying it's not the same without a Dutch Pepper truck out there. Well, you shouldn't be in Atlanta, my boy. You should be here on the racetrack. We're not going to be in Atlanta for another 3 weeks. Davis Smith Jr. leads the way with 3 to go in stage 1. Smeal, Hall, Jade, Moutre, and Bohr. Mix of old meets new in HTL. Old guard meets new guard. Casey Ellis, John Matthews. They're looking for pretty good stage points here. Christina Ryan, Blake Henderson, Kevin Gibney Jr. are your top 10 at the moment. They'd be the ones with the stage points, Hall. Once we get around to the end of lap 30, if we can get there under green. Knock on wood. Only 3 trucks on the outside lane. Susie's a band on the outside lane now as well. Eli Sasek now the leader of that line. I have a feeling if there's going to be any passing for these stage points, it's going to be left really late. Extremely late. Into the white flag in stage 1. Those trucks on the outside beginning to move. Sasek in the conversation. I believe it's Alfred Denny behind him. And I believe that's Brady Smith as well. Trying to come in and poach some stage points away. And they just might. Denny trying to side draft heavy off of Bryce Bohr. They're not going to get the stage win. That looks like it might be comfortably in the hands of Davis Muir Jr. And the reason why is because there's pit stops happening right now. And Dustin Hall grabs stage 1. Dustin Hall gets the stage win. Pit stops, though, are underway. Ryan, Henderson, and Chafin. They're all in, and now you've got 3 wide. Everyone's jumping up for positions now, and a caution now would be devastating. Everyone thinking fuel numbers, and now pit stops are here. And the question now sits, if you're pitting on lap 30, you've got to try to save an extra 2 laps of fuel. Can you do it? We're going to find out. Who can go beyond lap 32 right now? Anyone else coming down pit lane? A few. Looks like 4. Sasek, Smeal, Gibney, and Susie. So there's 10 that have made to lap 32. They fuel saved to get to this number. How far can they go, or will they come down pit lane now under lap 32? Teammates working together. Henderson, Ryan, and Chafin. Wesley Worley speeding on pit lane. Has a stop and hold penalty. 40 seconds additional to his pit stop timer. Unfortunate for him. His debut will take a sour note. And this is the group of trucks we were wondering about. This is the top 10 all coming in together. Did anyone get a penalty for speeding in pit lane? No. Everyone made it in safely. That is wild to me. Sasek on his own, left to his own devices, will be struggling. The Tombstone Unforgiven camp working together. Henderson in the 25, Ryan in the 80, Chafin in the 77, the Menards machine. Coming up on the GRD cars, Gibney Racing Division. Susie, Smeal, and Gibney in that order. It's a 6-truck group right now with Sasek on an island. A little bit more tedious on the pit exit for Eli Sasek. But this group of 6, they're going to be the leaders of the race pretty well and handily at this point. The question is, can they save enough fuel now to avoid a pit stop? Because we're going to have a fragmented field now. That's the big question mark, is we're going to have a fragmented field. The likelihood of a caution, which would be the required intervention to save fuel without a pit stop, now seems to be a lot less likely. It looks like there will be 8 to 12 trucks in this group. Brady Smith and Dustin Hall out in front. They will lead the way here. They are up to speed. They will be a part of the conversation. They had the best stops of anybody. And it was all 4-tire stops. It was all 4-tire stops. No one, typically in the Cup Series, like what we'll see for the 500, pit stops under green will largely be fuel only. Not the case here. Everyone took tires. 10 trucks in this group. Alfred Denny also in the conversation, along with Bryce Bohr. They were 2 of the trucks that came in later on that pit cycle. So Smith, Hall, Denny, and Bohr are the 4 safest of the bunch. Susie, Smeal, and Gibney, they split it right down the middle. Lap 31 was when they came in, so they have to go another 31 laps to finish this race. If you're the Tombstone Unforgiven camp coming in early, it could be tough. Could be very tough. But you're seeing right now what that effect looks like. They are saving fuel now. Smith and Hall, they're making them burn more fuel because they know they're safe. They're trying to save more fuel now to try to go further in this stint. And that puts a pretty big pressure on Eli Sasek, Dakota Osborne, John Matthews, and Blue Jay. This group of 4 have to push to try to close in that gap. It's 4 seconds between Sasek and Denny at the moment. You got some work to do. Small group of 2 further back. That's Ellis and Bayer. And then a group of 3, Moutre, Jones, and Donaldson. The laps tick away here at Daytona. Brady Smith out in front. Things are relatively subdued at the front of the field. Take a chance now. We got interrupted last time we tried this. Should be a lot luckier this time. Let's crank it up. Welcome back, everyone, to the HTL Daytona 250. Riding on board with Blake Henderson, 6th place at the moment. You saw us refresh the overlay with the corrected manufacturers for all 21 trucks on the racetrack here. It's been caution-free because it is a worry over fuel mileage right now. Henderson, Ryan, and a couple others came down pit lane earlier. They came down the pit lane on lap 30. Marcus Chafin in 9th. Came down pit lane on lap 30, so they've got to save some fuel. Susie, Smeal, and Gibney, they came down pit lane on lap 31. They're also not confident about fuel mileage at the moment. But nobody is. And so this is going to be a pretty interesting barnstormer finish, I think, because there will be a point in time where everyone, all 10 of these drivers at the front of the field, will just go. But you got to see sort of what the process was looking like there. We rode on board with several drivers, Josh Susie for a moment, Blake Henderson, Christina Ryan. The reason why we didn't ride with Susie too long is because we don't have camera sets for the Dodge Ram. That is that 81 truck, as well as the 10 and the 31. We'll work on those. Brady Smith leads the way. Dustin Hall in 2nd. They came up pit lane on lap 32, so they can go a little bit shorter on fuel. However, leading this entire time will be difficult for the 95 and the 1. If fuel is a concern just to get to 30, let alone 32, it's going to be hard at the front of the field the entire time, but that is how the dice has been rolled. '19 on the lead lap, Wesley Worley was doing a good job on his debut. Caught out with a speeding penalty on pit lane. Had to sit for an additional 40 seconds. And ended up going a lap down. DJ Anderson started from pit lane, expecting there to be an early caution. There was none. And now he's 2 laps down as a result. Wesley Worley about to go 2 laps down as well in that number 13 machine. He is right here up the road. A little bit of a hard knock school for him, but it's been a clean race. Again, no cautions in this race. The first 47 laps. This will be coming to complete lap 48 for the race leaders. Lead pack of 10 in a single file line at various levels of fuel saving right now. For those watching on YouTube right now for free, we appreciate you. We're glad you're with us. Glad you're enjoying the show tonight. For those watching on Patreon, thank you for the support and the additional subscription service there. Enjoy the additional content. Worley moves out of the way. The 13 will accept going a second lap down pretty easily. He may try to jump at the very tail end of this group and just kind of hang with him a little bit. He was hanging on to the draft pretty well. That speeding penalty on pit lane is the thing that did him in. And unfortunately, none of his teammates are in this conversation right now either. John Matthews in 12th, Casey Ellis in 14th, Tristan Bayer in 15th at the moment. Byron Jones, 17th. Byron Jones falling back, and this is voluntary from Brady Smith. He realized that his fuel number was abysmal right now because he's been leading the entire time. It's time to shove that responsibility onto somebody else. And he will fall like a stone happily because he's going to have about 11 laps to try to save as much fuel as he humanly can in that 95 car. Likewise, Dustin Hall is going to begin falling backwards a little bit. Here comes the Gibney Racing Division trucks moving towards the front. Josh Susi back to the front of the field. He has led so far 15 laps of this race in that Dodge Ram. Trying to go for more. Dave Smith Jr. is yet to quite match him here. Now lap 16 led for Susi. Smeals led 12. Gibney's led 2. So all three of the GRD Rams have led laps here. Dustin Hall just led 4 laps. Henderson's yet to lead a lap in this race. Now there is Bryce Bohr. Christina Ryan led 1 lap, and that was the first lap of the race. Marius Chafin has yet to lead a lap here. Brady Smith just led 17 laps after the pit stop sequence, and he is now sitting down the order in the 9th position. Alfred Denny has also yet to lead a lap here. We'll see how things play out for him. Car about to go a lap down is that of Dakota Osborne, the 79, who has been on an island on his own, about to go a lap down for the first time. Looks like a little bit of damage on the 79. Looks like he had a little bit of damage, a little bit of help on pit lane back on lap 32. Which would make sense as to why he's so far down the order right now. He's been a little bit longer on pit lane as a result. So did Tristan Bear. Tristan Bear spent about 17 seconds on pit lane, so that may contribute to that as well. Osborne will move out of the way, and we'll follow a lap down here. So we're going to see how things play out. And as we approach 7 laps to go. Everyone's still in fuel save mode further back in this line. The teammates now lead the way. They think they're good to the finish. And that's going to be music to the ears of Dustin Hall, who doesn't have to worry about being on the bumper of the 31. He can just sit in the draft, sit in the slipstream, and save some additional fuel. He's not led much of this race, the one truck of Dustin Hall, which doesn't hurt him as bad as it did Brady Smith. Brady Smith was really feeling the pain of that earlier on in this stint. And I think there's still concerns that 95 might need to come down for a splash and dash to end the race, and that would completely derail his event altogether. So Brady Smith's kind of been all alone. His teammates not with him. Eli Sasic not in this conversation with him. There's only 2 Toyotas in the field, and those are it. Six laps to go here in Daytona for the season opener for the HTL Challenger Series. We're glad you are with us for the opening race of the season. Speed Weeks is almost done. We're almost done with Daytona. We'll have one more race here. And that'll be on Monday for the 8th HTL Daytona 500. Susie continues to lead the way. With 5 to go. Business will begin to pick up here. It's a lot of team dynamics in this group. The top 3 are teammates for Gibney Racing Division. Got a lot of Tombstone and Unforgiven cars. Also thinking about making a move. I believe that might be a couple of them. It is Chafin and Ryan outside lane. Hall and Henderson outside lane. 4 on 3 now. Bohr is stuck to the bottom of the racetrack. It's going to move. Brady Smith to the inside lane, up a spot. Alfred Denny should move to the outside lane. He does. 100% he does. It's now 5 on 5. Some of the very best plate racers in HTL are in this combination. Susie goes to block Hall. Business has 100% picked up. We are in action at Daytona. Susie had to move so fast he left his teammates to dry. But now, GRD teammates lead both lines. And we picked up a second a lap in the last 3 laps, as everyone has now decided that they are good to go to the end of the race. Brady Smith is now back in the conversation. Dustin Hall is still in the conversation. There's still worry for those two, but at this point, your bet is made. Run it until it runs out. 3 to go. Hall goes to the bottom. And Susie gets shuffled up top. No help for the 81. And that shouldn't be a surprise. Little bit of contact between Bohr and Chafin. But they keep it straight once again. Keep it going. Wesley Worley's getting a show watching from that 13 truck. He's got a wild ride. Henderson to the front, ahead of Hall. Christina Ryan in third. How is this going to play out? Another hip check, this time Brady Smith. Smith holds on to it. And now there's problems. Bohr and Chafin, huge contact inside lane, and cautions out. We've got overdrive. They had made contact a couple times, and this time it's for real. And that brings the full field together. So our first caution comes with less than a few laps to go. And what a killer that was. So let's take a look at what happened here. This is from high above, and it really starts well before this, but this is what draws the caution out directly. And it's not really Bohr or Chafin's fault. Chafin gets turned by Denny. Brady Smith still turns him, and that's where the caution, I think, really comes out, is the 95 and the 21 spinning off each other in front of the 13. But at the chain reaction, they were just 4 wide, nobody wanting to lift here. And we'll have to go back and look at this a little bit more in detail, because it begins with Brady Smith getting hip checked below the yellow line. And it affects all 4 of the cars involved in that pretty severely. Not how you want your race to be, obviously, at all. So let's back it up. And here's why. So Henderson's got a pretty good advantage here up at the front in the 25. And then it's Dustin Hall leading the inside lane ahead of Davis Muir Jr. and Kevin Gibney Jr. On the outside lane, close to the wall, Christina Ryan in that black and silver number 80, Marcus Chafin in the 77 in that Menards car. And then you've got the 81 of Josh Soucy, who had just been shuffled out by the Tombstone and Forgiven trucks. But again, we're coming to 2 laps to go. No one's going to lift here. Chafin just rolls out of it a little bit too much out of turn 4. Gibney's not lifting. He's expecting Chafin to just stay on that seam. That's not the case. And instead, you see Brady Smith here. Smith trying to keep his foot in it. Realistically, he's the one that needs to sort of lift here. He feels wronged, though, so he's not going to. Chafin's running a little bit slower because he got hit, and it just forces Bohr up the racetrack into Denny, and Denny's got nowhere to go because he finds himself sandwiched as well. And then Brady Smith, that's just avoidable from the 95. He doesn't have to swing up an additional amount there to avoid Bohr and Chafin. He just does anyway. I'd say a pretty big rookie mistake there from the 95. He was clear of the accident as it was. In these two wrecking on the apron, if it had just been Chafin and Bohr, there wouldn't have been a caution for it because they would have been off the racetrack. That's a huge, big sticking point here at Daytona. If it's off the racing surface, they're not going to throw a caution for it. But because Brady Smith decided to make the additional move up the racetrack into Alfred Denny, affects all 4 of their races and puts them behind the 8 ball. And again, not really anything any of them did wrong. Brady Smith should have probably lifted being on the apron because you never get to rejoin safely in the tri-oval. But again, at 2 laps to go, you don't want to lift. And unfortunately, a lot of the drivers are just going to chalk it up to, I think, ascent racing terrorism. And unfortunately, that's a meme that I think has run its course because now we're at a point now where this race is significantly affected. And now we're looking at overtime. And it's going to be a bit difficult. And 3 trucks, the three trucks that had nowhere to go in that situation were the 3 that are left on pit lane, basically out of this race. Bohr, Chafin, and Denny are all out. And Byron Jones gets, not Byron Jones, the 95 of Brady Smith gets to keep going. Sometimes racing's not fair, but sometimes it can be avoided. And that's where we're at right now. Blake Henderson, Dustin Hall lead the way. Josh Soucy, Davis Muir Jr. in row 2 for this restart. Christina Ryan inside row 3 alongside Kevin Gibney Jr. This will be a fun restart to watch. Eli Sasek, Blue Jade, row 4. Byron Jones, Casey Ellis will be row 5 on this restart. Ryan Moutre, Tristan Bayer in row 6. Gary Donaldson, Brady Smith, row 7. John Matthews, Dakota Osborne, row 8. Osborne getting the free pass. He gets his lap back. Wesley Worley is getting 1 lap back. He took the wave around here. Everyone else came down pit lane. They took the opportunity to. Worley will be 1 lap down. If we do have another overtime and Worley's not involved, he would then end up back on the lead lap. But he's got to make sure he avoids the carnage like he did last time. He was behind the accident that happened to draw overtime to begin with, and he avoided it really well, the 13 truck. So he'll have to do that again if it happens before the white flag. Once we get to the final lap, once the white flag has come out, the race is official. It's race back from there. Any incidents that happen after the white flag is taken will be reviewed. Post-race and penalties will be applied if need be. All that makes sense. Great. 2 laps, 5 miles. Green, white, checkered. It is overdrive. It's called overtime. It's called green, white, checkers, whatever you want to call it. But it's time to get down to business for real. The green flag flies and away we go. And Henderson turns himself immediately. Tried to clear Dustin Hall. Was not clear, and he turns himself from the lead. Oh my goodness. They're already 3 wide. Davis Muir Jr. getting shuffled all the way back. And as we mentioned, because Henderson was on the apron, he was off the racing surface, there's no yellow for that. Whoa! Trouble! Huge trouble! Huge crash! And there is caution for the second time. And Wesley Worley doing the thing we told about. Avoid the melee, avoid the carnage, get back on lead lap, and that's huge because most of your lead lap field is involved. Gibney, Ryan, Ellis, Donaldson, Bayer, all involved among others. And we'll re-rack it and give it another go. And let's take a look, because it's nasty. Gibney in the 31 is who gets sideways first. Is it off of a bump from the 9? Oh, wow. That's not Eli Sassik's fault. That's a shotgun push. Is what we call it, is a shotgun push. But what it does is it pushes you back as the car behind. It's netcode induced. It is latency induced is what happens. But that's exactly what happened. It almost acted like an e-brake for Kevin Gibney Jr. It is not unheard of here in sim racing in general, but it is profoundly devastating, especially on simulators like iRacing, like Assetto Corsa, Le Mans Ultimate, R-Factor. A lot of your premium simulators will have that. But that was quite simply, that was a sudden 30-mile-an-hour drop for Kevin Gibney Jr. off the back of his teammate and right into Eli Sassik's lap. We make the joke about ascent racing and terrorism and constant accidents. There's nothing Sassik can do in that situation at all. He has the 31 just land on his lap in a devastating way. And unfortunately, at the front of the field, everyone's lifting. You don't have time to just react to that. And it's just mind-blowing to me. Just take a look here. Look at how much the 31 immediately just slows up. Just immediately just stacks everyone up. And Gibney comes across the nose of Dustin Hall. Christina Ryan gets turned up the racetrack by Casey Ellis, who also goes up the racetrack. Brady Smith gets involved. Tristan Bayer gets involved. Gary Donaldson gets involved. DJ Anderson, who's not in the free pass position, he gets a piece. He also helps kind of keep Donaldson on the racing surface, keeps him from spinning out there. Gibney gets spun again by Moutre. Looks like John Matthews, the 98, gets a little piece off his teammate there, Casey Ellis. I don't know if they're teammates or not. Correct me on that if I'm wrong. But Ellis, I think, is affiliated with the Orlando Outlaws team in this series. Dakota Osborne, already on the lead lap, was trying to avoid the melee and does. Wesley Worley is back on the lead lap, so his successful attempt to avoid this accident has rewarded him with the chance now to gain some significant spots in his debut. And now we have a lot more trucks joining Bryce Bohr, Marcus Chafin, and Alfred Denny on the sidelines before this next restart, which could be the last. There could be one more. So we're into caution for the second time. Very reminiscent of shades of the Season 6 Firecracker 400, where the first 99% was great, and it fell apart in the final 1% that turned into 15. There's no fast repairs, though, in this competition, and there's only room for one more overtime attempt. So there is a ceiling on how far this can go. All the cars involved in that last accident, I do believe, are okay. Wesley Worley, surprisingly, it's saying that Worley was involved in that incident. Surprised the Swatsworth rule wasn't invoked because he should be okay. Then he should be on lead lap, but instead it's not the case. And it looks like Anderson also did not get a free pass here, so it looks like it's going to just give it to nobody here. Christina Ryan coming back down the pit lane. See that car pretty well torn up at the moment, trying to get a little bit more work done, but we are on the 1 to green for truck number 80. So you don't want to spend too much time in pit lane here if you don't have to, because you may still have a shot at this race with how things have sort of panned out. Susie, Sasek, Jade, Hall, Jones, your top 5 for this restart. And there's a lot less clean trucks than what there were about 15 minutes ago. Sort of reacting to that accident, watching live both on Patreon and on YouTube. We appreciate you tuning in. It was a fuel-saving festival, and now it's a show. Susie and Sasek. Sasek with a little bit of damage on the front of his car. Susie with a little bit of damage on the rear of his truck. So no one completely clean from that situation. The question is, what's more beneficial at this point? And how aggressive do you be on this restart, knowing that if you don't have a car that's 100% right now, it may not have a lot more to give. Christina Ryan's day is effectively done, and so we go back racing. We're underway once again here in Daytona. Susie and Hall grabbed a pretty significant advantage over Eli Sasek. I wondered if that front end damage would affect him. It has. Car on the fence, Moutre. We stay green. Again, if we see the white flag, the race is official. If we don't, and we need another restart, we have one more. Let's see how this plays out. Susie leads, Hall, Jade, and Jones. Sasek in 5th, but dropping. Henderson will move to 5th. And it looks like we may be in line to get to the white flag here in Daytona. Nope, we will not. Caution's out. No, they gave the white flag. They gave the white flag coming to the white. And so no yellow. This will be official. It's a 4-car fight. Susie, Hall, Jade, and Jones. When do you make the jump? And if you're Susie, how hard do you block? Susie goes to the middle of the racetrack. He's going to try to defend as much as he can. Out of 4 for the final time. Susie goes up top. Will it be enough? It 100% will be. Josh Susie wins in Daytona. Dustin Hall got abandoned at the end. Blue Jade finishes in 2nd. Byron Jones rounds out your podium here ahead of Dustin Hall and Blake Henderson, your top 5. John Matthews, Brady Smith, Dakota Osborne, Casey Ellis, and Ryan Moutre will be your top 10 finishers here to kick off the HTL Challenger Series campaign on the high banks of Daytona. Josh Susie gets to celebrate finally getting a victory in Speed Weeks. He's been close on multiple occasions. And now he breaks through and will be the points leader for the HTL Challenger Series campaign to kick off the 3rd Truck Series season. Josh Susie, your race winner here tonight. A Polish victory lap for the 81 to celebrate here in Daytona. We will talk to our podium finishers here in just a moment. Some pretty good feel-good moments. First podium for Blue Jade. Byron Jones kicks off the Challenger Series with a podium. And again, for Blue Jade, first time in HTL that a podium has been achieved. So great job. We will see if we can hear from Byron Jones. Third place finisher here tonight. Talk to all the podium finishers here as Josh Susi celebrates and does his Polish victory lap. Go ahead and talk to Byron Jones here as Susi pulls it around the front straightaway. Byron Jones, P3, a very taxing race, but successful at the end. Walk us through how that race went for you.
Yeah, I mean, this was a lot better than the duels last night. It was a lot of emotions trying to, after losing the pack fairly early on, just hoping for a caution. And when we got one, it was sort of game on from there. It was be patient, work the way up, and we did. And saw Blue up in the front with, I don't know, I think it was, we were coming back to the restart and just linked up with Blue, tried everything we could to at least have a shot at the win, and just came up just short, but it's okay. I mean, the car was extremely fast for what we were doing tonight, so I'll take a P3 after originally thinking I was going to be far off the charts.
The speed weeks, as you mentioned, has not been the kindest to you. How important was getting a run like this to sort of reset things? Because now points are on offer. There was a few points on offer last night for the duels, but now it's time to get serious and look at the big picture, look at the big points. How important was this sort of shake off everything before Monday's Daytona 500?
Yeah, I mean, running double duties definitely, it's going to be a task this season, and if just being able to get top three, I've never had the best of luck at plate tracks, and finally being able to finish where I did tonight was a huge tone setter for next week. I think this will give the 24 team more confidence as we head into the 500, and I think we can definitely give it a shot, especially with the teammates of Orlando Outlaws. We can get ourselves up there and potentially find myself in the same spot, if not higher, come Monday next week.
We speak on that for a moment there, Byron Jones. Obviously, looking at your truck right now on the big screen here, Ulti Energy was announced yesterday as the new partner for the team, and you were trusted to represent that brand here tonight. How important was that, being able to sort of bring them at least a little bit of hardware early on, just 24 hours after that announcement, podium finish? And is that maybe a potential good luck charm? Are we looking at a possible paint scheme change?
Yeah, I mean, Ulti has been amazing so far, just with everything that they've put together for us. I've got to try their product, some of the most amazing product I've personally tried, and we offer that too to other people if they want to go check out Ulti Energy. Use code Outlaws. It'll give you 10% off on your order, and I think it gave us the energy to get through the race, and it's given us the hydration to recuperate after we're done, and I couldn't ask for a better sponsor on the car.
It looked phenomenal here on the racetrack. Third place here for the 24 camp to really get things started here in the Challenger Series campaign. Before we let you go and let you obviously enjoy the rest of your night, but also get ready for the 500 on Monday. If there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Congratulations on the podium to kick off the season.
Thank you. Yeah, I would like to shout out Orlando Outlaws, obviously. With the disband of CCR the last season, we went to go join a new organization, and so far it's been a good jump. So we'll see what the future brings. Huge shout out to Twisted Speed Setup Shops. They provide us on the Cup side. They're going to be with us all season long. Of course, Ulti Energy, like mentioned before, as well as shout out to Papa Wheelies. If you do any of the RC World side, Papa Wheelies tire sauce, that's phenomenal there too. And of course, thank you, Carmen and Blake, for being able to put this series together to allow us to enjoy it. I mean, it's been a blast every time I've come back, and I'm excited yet again for another season here.
A lot of fun tonight. The race gave us a little bit of everything, a little bit of chaos at the end. The 24 Byron Jones P3 here on the High Banks of Daytona. He'll try to do so again on Monday for the start of the HTL Cup Series season here from Daytona. Byron, congratulations, and I'll see. We'll probably see you again on Thursday for the Kart IndyCar Series, but if not, we will definitely see you for Monday's Daytona 500.
Yep, we'll see you Monday, Carmen.
Phenomenal job for Byron Jones. I don't know if we're going to hear from Blue Jade here tonight, which is unfortunate, but I believe we are going to hear from the race winner, Josh Susi, who has been sort of the kingmaker or the queen maker. He has been the one that has sort of handed the crown over. There's Blue Jade. We will talk to Blue Jade first, and we'll work up the podium again still. Blue, this is Carmen from the ABN booth. Do you got a copy?
Absolutely do.
A wild ride here for just about everyone in this race tonight. Everyone kind of was resigned to where they were at after the set of pit stops. A caution with 2 laps to go resets everything, and it's chaos that is the great equalizer. Walk us through it on your end, though. That 83 car got to see a little bit of everything tonight.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have a golden horseshoe stuffed up somewhere. I got unlucky with the pits. Didn't want to wreck into anyone the first time. Didn't want to wreck anyone on pit road. Lost like 5 seconds overall. Lost the lead pack. I think it was the 9 and John Matthews and I. We kind of just all... honestly, there was a shot. Had the front been a bit more racy, would have been fun. But that caution saved us. Sucks for John because he got an EOL from it, but that's racing. But was fun dodging the wrecks, and thought about going deep, going low on the final lap, but I didn't want to end up getting P3.
It obviously, first time, this is your first official points race in HTL. Obviously, you joined during the offseason, took part in the Double Barrel Challenge. You're racing a couple races in the Cup Series in that number 5 car. That's a ride share. First podium in your first official points event, though, in HTL. What's the feeling like going into that? And obviously, it's a bit of a gauntlet coming up here. North Wilkesboro is coming up here just in 7 days' time. What's the feeling going into that race as well?
I just thought everyone would be better. I'm kidding. Yeah, I Bobby Blowers, he had invited me to join. Had fun with Double Barrel Challenge, so I was like, yeah, sure. I did this and can't wait for next week. This will probably be the best that I will do for the entire season. But who knows? As I said, golden horseshoe stuff somewhere. It's done me good before. Just one day the luck will catch up to me.
Well, if North Wilkesboro isn't your thing, Atlanta is right around the corner as well in 2 weeks' time, and it's going to race a lot similar to how this raced here tonight, so maybe it's going to work out pretty well later on in Atlanta. Before we let you go, though, we'll obviously we'll see you again on Thursday in the IndyCar Series as they head to Texas, so a lot more wide open racing to come here for you on Thursday. But before I let you go and let you get ready for that race in a couple days' time, if there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Phenomenal effort, P2, in your first official HTL race.
Thank you. I believe I am legally obligated to shout out Bobby, Casey, Tristan, Byron, Yeti, everyone in Orlando Outlaws. Mirabella, she doesn't race this, but she's yelling at me to shout her out. Same with Lily Frazier. As was done before, shout out to you and Blake. You both put on a great field, a great show by you. I was listening during the race. It was fun to watch back, especially during the wreck. I'm kind of just like craning my neck over. Probably good to admit that on stream, but yeah, thank you for all that y'all do.
It was a lot of fun here tonight to kick off the Challenger Series season in style. Again, congratulations on your first career podium in HTL and your first official start. North Wilkesboro coming up here in 7 days' time. In 2 days' time, we head to Texas, and hopefully we get to talk to you then. But congratulations.
Hopefully, yeah. And yeah, thank you.
That was Blue Jade. We'll see Blue Jade again on Thursday in the kart IndyCar series at No Limits, Texas. But a phenomenal first podium and first career start for Blue Jade here tonight. The man of the hour tonight is the man that was so close, so far away on a couple occasions here so far in Speed Weeks. But when the points matter the most, there's a reason Susie's a former two-time Cup Series champion and a winner of an HTL Daytona 500 already. Josh Susie is victorious here to kick off the Challenger Series season. Teamwork worked until iRacing said no thank you. And it set up a pretty wild finish. Walk us through it, because that was not something we see normally. What was that like from your perspective?
Yeah, I just looked at my mirror, and next thing you know, Gibney's going backwards, and I'm like, what's going on? And then they start wrecking like crazy. I'm looking at all my stuff. I'm like, I'm not having a lag spike. I'm not having a packet loss. Like, I thought he just rubber banded, but apparently iRacing set off the Claymore in the back of my truck and threw him backwards. And yeah, that's you don't see that too often. And we were sitting in a really great spot. I think we had the momentum. Obviously, we were going to work together. And it's always something with the team. At the end of these races, we do an excellent job of putting ourselves in position, and somehow or another, it gets broken up. Sometimes it's by our own stupidity, but usually it's just something out of our control. And yeah, I hated to see that, because I thought I was a sitting duck for sure. No friends up front, and a hungry field all wanting to get the first win in the Truck Series.
We talk about Speed Weeks and building momentum and how important it is, and everyone's largely agreed that, like, hey, we're at a point now where you need to sort of start worrying about the long game and thinking big picture. We know how good you are at Daytona. You're a Daytona 500 winner. We've kind of shouted your resume out a lot over the last couple of weeks. But it matters. It is important to start things off right. You were close. You were close in the shootout. You were close in the duels. Not a lot of help there in the duels, unfortunately, for you last night. Tonight, even with the variable help and the iRacing interference, the 81 was able to get the job done here. How important was that to sort of set the stage in the right way going into the big race on Monday? And then obviously, what do you take from this? Like, how do you prepare going forward into that? Obviously, fixed setup for both tonight and Monday. The teammates are the same, though. Same three people are going to be working together probably on race day. What do you do to probably just try to improve that? Because it seems like the teamwork just sort of is there until it's not. And is there any way to sort of prevent interference in going into Monday?
I think that's out of your control. I mean, besides iRacing deciding when it wants to be funny to us, you can't control.
To be Tarkov.
Yes, exactly. I didn't think I was going to be using those gifts on my teammate, but things happen, and yeah, you can't control what the other 37 drivers are doing out on the grid. You can only plan for as many contingencies and strategies as possible, and like I think Mike Tyson said, you can have a great plan, but the first time you get punched in the mouth, it all goes to hell. So, it's just, we know what we need to do. We've shown good teamwork, good speed, good decision making, and you keep repeating that process, and eventually you're going to get paid off. It's great not to be kind of like in the bridesmaid position tonight, where I've been the last several broadcasts here on ABN, settling to be the great pusher and putting someone out there for stage wins and setting them up for race wins. So that was cool, but you can only control so much. So we'll do what we can to be in position when you need to be in position. and to constantly be churning my brain as far as strategy goes on if we have a caution, when, how that affects fuel mileage, what it's going to do to our track positions. Can we pit as a 3-car cluster and still maintain pace? Everything you need to work through. But I tried to just play nice tonight, earn some more respect with the individuals that are going to be racing on Monday also. And, I think we've built a pretty good camaraderie with several different drivers that are not on the team. Obviously, with only 2 other vehicles, you're kind of limited on what you can do. But, there's some people out there that I work really, really well with. I think they enjoy working with me. We can make things happen. We make a lot of speed. So you got to have those backup cards in your back pocket just in case you need them.
And you touched on there briefly. No guaranteed cautions here. It's sort of just up to what happens on the racetrack here. It's going to be the same way in HTL on Monday for the Daytona 500. No stage breaks across the board going into this season. Universally praised the decision to remove the stage breaks here, but it changes a lot in how people approach races, and it's going to affect the plate races more than any other place on the calendar, just because that was where we saw them last season. What's the game plan there? Is it sort of just stay at the front? Is it sort of just try to read the room? Like, what is the most comfortable position for you to be in right now, having had the 2 weeks sort of preparing game plan a little bit?
I think you got to feel out the field. I'm not sure that anyone was expecting this race to go almost caution free, especially the way that the vehicles are running in the draft. There's a lot of movement with the dirty air and the buffering of the wind and people trying to side draft. These trucks are pretty wild. But where we got forced in a box with fuel mileage, it kind of really, really calmed down the race. I don't necessarily think we're going to see that on Monday. It depends on how the numbers shake out, where the stages are at, who's up front burning the most fuel, who's just kind of happy to be out back riding the saving. It's all going to be fluid and dynamic. I think particularly for these plate races, your number one objective is to be there at the end. I'm more than happy to forego stage points in these type of races because I want to win them. You know what I mean? Or get a podium. It's not like the other tracks where you can cement yourself in a 5th, 6th, 7th spot and be happy with it and know that you're probably going to be okay. There's too much that happens here. It could bite you, or it can work out for you like it did tonight. It's just a question of how the race is playing out and how everyone else on the track is running.
And with race wins being worth more points this season, instead of being 40 points, 55 points for race wins, because there is no win and situation in the postseason for either competition here this season, that strategy might be the right call, all things considered. Before we let you go, though, we'll let you focus on what's coming up for you this week. And obviously, we'll see you again on Monday for the HTL Daytona 500. We'll try to win your second coming up here in just a few days. If there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. A phenomenal job. 81 car is going to be a favorite no matter where it's at on the racetrack here. And you should hear tonight with a race win in the Challenger Series.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Shout out first and foremost, everyone that showed up. I know we were missing a few people, but we had a pretty stout field for the truck series. So thank you to everyone that did show up. A lot of good racing. Shout out to Smeal for the paint. Shout out to Ram. I got my 3rd Infinity Stone. I just need that Ford win, and then I'll have the set collected until iRacing decides to add another manufacturer somewhere. That's why we're in the Ram this year, because you know how I am. I want to run every different manufacturer and try to get a win in each one of them. I don't know if anyone else has done that yet. I know I'm the first to win with a Ram, so
I'll crunch the numbers and see.
Yeah, it should be close. But yeah, thanks to everyone on SSS. Thank you to TWRS, even though it's a fixed race, they're on the truck. I'll go post a pretty picture in the Discord and say, hey, I hope you guys are proud. Hopefully we can get some of the open set wins. I know we're going to have good pieces on Mondays. Really, really tough competition came into the league, so that's going to be tough, but I look forward to the challenge. And as always, thank you for the broadcast. Hope we put on a decent show. I know it can be a little stinker sometimes with fuel mileage, but everything you do with Blake and for the league behind the scenes, bringing our action to life for everyone's families and friends to watch, we really appreciate it. So hopefully I'll get to talk to you a bunch this season, and we'll just have some fun.
A lot of fun here tonight. We got a little bit of everything, a little bit of chaos, a little bit of planning, a little bit of scheming, and everything in between. It was a lot of fun. Josh Susie, congratulations on your win to open up the Challenger Series season. As you mentioned, we're probably going to have a lot of conversations this season across both competitions here on Monday and Tuesday nights. Congratulations, and we'll probably be talking to you again on Monday night if things go well.
Hey, I hope so. Let's go.
That was Josh Susie, your race winner here tonight. A great job for him and the Gibney Racing Division team. They did an outstanding job all the way through. Can't really provide a fault on how they performed here tonight. So let's go ahead and go into the results here for how this race shook out. Josh Susie, Blue Jade, Byron Jones, your top three in this race. Heard from all three of them pretty optimistic with how things looked here tonight. Byron Jones and Josh Susie racing again on Monday for the HTL Daytona 500. Dustin Hall and Blake Henderson finishing top 5. So close, yet so far. Dustin Hall, no help at the end. Blake Henderson couldn't find the draft at the end of the race. Got separated by the restart shenanigans on the final go. Ends up 5th ahead of John Matthews, Brady Smith, Dakota Osborne, Casey Ellis, Ryan Moutre, your top 10 here in Daytona to kick the season off. Davis Mills Jr., Eli Sasek, top 12. Gary Donaldson in 13th. Tristan Bayer, Kevin Gibney Jr., Wesley Worley in 16th ahead of DJ Anderson. And you have retirements there at the end of the order. Christina Ryan, disappointing how her race came to an end. Bryce Bohr, Marcus Chafin, and Alfred Denny involved in the first caution of the night that came on lap 60 of 62 in regulation. Very disappointing in how those races ended. But next week's a new week for the HTL Cup Series. It's the Daytona 500 coming up here on Monday. The next Challenger Series race next Tuesday in North Wilkesboro. A lot of things happening for us on the in-between, though. Tomorrow, it is the ABN Champ Car World Series from Mid-Ohio, exclusively on Patreon at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. On Thursday at 8 p.m. on YouTube and Patreon, it's the CART Crown Athletics IndyCar Series from the Lone Star State, No Limits, Texas, for a pretty exciting race on tap. ABN Champ Car race there earlier this year. It is going to be a wild ride there in Fort Worth. On Saturday, it is the Harks High Octane Series at Darlington. That is 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Twitch and on YouTube. The Winsell Cup Series at Chicagoland on Sunday, 7:45 p.m. Eastern Time, again on YouTube and on Patreon. And then next Monday, the Great American Sim Race, 8th Daytona 500 for HTL on Monday. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. on Patreon exclusively. For those watching on YouTube, the race broadcast will pick up at 8 p.m. There will be Victory Lane after the race exclusively on Patreon. Give or take 10:30, 11 o'clock. There are extended post-race show there. So Countdown to Green at 7 p.m. for Patreon subscribers. Victory Lane post-race for Patreon subscribers as well. Everything in the middle on Patreon and YouTube all together. So 5 hours of extended coverage there on Monday. You're not going to want to miss it. A lot of fun stuff being planned, scheduled, and recorded for that race on Monday. We hope you join us for all of it. A huge shout out to our premium tier subscribers here on Patreon who have helped us keep the lights on through difficult times the last 6 months. Trade Ups Logan, Dogman2935, Eli Sasek, Jason Scott, Alfred Denny, Weekend Hobby 22, Philip Snipes, Tyler Head, B-Dogs, Colin McDonough, Blue, KJ Gibney, James Wright, and J-Paw. Thank you for being a part of the premier tier Patreon support team. You all are amazing. Well, that'll do it from us here in Daytona for now. Join us again tomorrow in Mid-Ohio. Join us again on Thursday at Texas, or join us again this weekend for all the racing coming up here. On behalf of everyone here for HTL, the Challenger Series, and everyone here at ABN Studios, I'm Carmen Sienna. Stay safe and stay healthy. We'll see you again tomorrow night. Until then, so long, everybody.